Summer McIntosh just absolutely shattered the world record in the 400 freestyle on night 1 of the Canadian swimming trials, which is why I'm recording this at almost 1 in the morning. McIntosh actually used to own the world record in this event back in 2023 when she ripped a time of 3:56.08 to undercut Ariarne Titmus's world record of 3:56.40. But that world record out of McIntosh was short-lived because just a few months later, Titmus struck back at the 2023 World Championships with a huge swim of 3:55.38, reclaiming the world record for herself. So now it's time for Summer McIntosh to repay the favor. On the first 50, McIntosh was a little under world record pace. Then at the 100-meter turn, she was basically dead even, just 300 slower. At the 200-meter turn, McIntosh had gained about half a second on the world record pace, but what was about to come next would be the hardest part. You see, this world record from Titmus had a major back half to it, meaning that we often see McIntosh and Ledecky close to the world record splits at the 200 before losing it over the second half of the race. McIntosh traditionally does her work at the front of the race, and she was a bit off of the splits from her best time, so either she's trying something new or she was not about to beat Titmus here. Summer McIntosh defied those expectations by turning at the 300-meter mark way under world record pace, and for the first time during this race, she was also under her personal best split as well. But could she hold off that fierce last 100 meters from Titmus in 2023? At the last turn, it looked like the answer to that question was about to be a definitive yes, as she turned in a blazing 3:25.12. The world record split is a 3:26.51. Summer McIntosh stormed home on the final 50. She wasn't merely holding off the world record pace, she wasn't giving it an inch. 3:54.18, a new world record, and not by a small amount, by a whopping 1.2 seconds. Summer McIntosh is now the first and only woman to ever break 3:55 in the 400 freestyle, and in doing so, she almost broke 3:54 as well. Let's compare the splits from this swim to the former world record, as well as McIntosh's previous best time, or I guess you could say the former world record. The splits here absolutely floored me when I first saw them, because as I said, McIntosh typically does her best swimming at the front and then hangs on. But after being out just behind world record pace through the first 100, she really put in the work on that middle 200, outsplitting Titmus by over half a second on both of those hundreds to really build her lead. The most impressive thing about this swim is that final 100. While Titmus was faster here, this was pretty much the signature part of that swim, so McIntosh being just 500ths behind is crazy. Comparing these splits to McIntosh's personal best, we can really see the change in her race strategy. She's out a full half of a second slower on the first 100, and then is basically the same on the second 100, but technically still slower. After the half though, everything changes. She's 7/10 faster on the third 100, and then a blistering 1.71 seconds faster on the final 100. Summer McIntosh just took what was previously the weakest leg of this race and made it perhaps the most impressive, which is just insane to think about. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see Ariarne Titmus try and take this world record back this year, as she's currently taking an extended post-Olympic break, but it will be interesting to see how her record being broken like this drives her going forward. Obviously, a swim like this out of McIntosh sets the expectations for the rest of her meet into overdrive. She is confirmed to be racing the rest of her traditional lineup, the 400 IM, the 200 IM, and the 200 fly. She's also entered in the 200 free, the 800 free, and the 200 backstroke, and of those 3 events, she's going to be choosing one of them to add as her 5th event. First, let's talk about the swims that we know we're going to see, the IM events and the 200 fly. When it comes to world records, the 400 IM is easily the most likely, as she currently holds that record, so any PB there will automatically reset it. Then in the 200 IM, she is within half a second of Katinka Hosu's world record, so it's not out of the question for her to try and challenge it. Meanwhile, in the 200 butterfly, many consider this to be one of the toughest world records out there, but McIntosh has been incredibly quick in this event before, and many also think that she will be the one to eventually break it. I think she could potentially break it here, but it would take the absolute swim of her life, best case scenario. Now, for those other events that she might add to her lineup, the 800 freestyle is the most intriguing to me, because she has been incredibly fast in this event before, and the way she swam that 400 freestyle might translate pretty nicely into an 800. McIntosh is the swimmer that's been the closest to Ledecky's world record in the 800 freestyle, and I've seen some speculating on whether or not she'll be able to try and take a crack at it at this meet. Now, I think it would take an absolutely insane swim to do that, but it does also take an insane swim to go 354.18, so at least there's precedent. What did you think about this ridiculous swim out of Summer McIntosh, and what are you now expecting from her for the rest of this meet?